Hi friend, I just wanted to take a minute to invite you to our Lash Biz Babes Experience 2026. This is a one-day all online event happening on May 2nd, and our theme for the year is going all in. We are shaking things up and doing it differently than anyone ever has before. This is going to be an all online event as usual, but it's going to be 100% a curated journey throughout your day as we guide you through the mindset, strategy, and passion needed to go all in on your business to make it your best year in business yet. All lash artists, estheticians, and beauty professionals are invited to join us. There will be guided sessions, interactive workshops, a panel discussion, and big giveaways happening throughout that whole day. And tickets are on sale now for only $199. Payment plans are available. Let's go all in on our businesses for 2026 together. All the details and the link for tickets are down in the show notes below. I would love to have you join us online in May. Welcome to another episode of Lash Biz Babes, the podcast for solo beauty business owners who want to build a full clientele and create a business and life that they truly love. My name is Erica. I'm your host. I'm a lash artist turned beauty business coach and lash educator. Welcome to the show today. If you are a past listener, welcome back. If you're a new listener, welcome for the very first time. I'm so happy to have you here. So this week I have a guest episode for you. We've got Dennis from DenyDiva on Instagram on the show today. I'm so happy and excited to finally have him on. Him and I have been talking about doing this episode for a while now. And yeah, we're going to be talking about our experiences working at franchise lash studios. So Dennis has been a full-time lash artist for 8 years. He got to start out a franchise lash studio, and now he is quote unquote thriving beyond the chains of a franchise, LOL. So yeah, I personally have not ever openly spoken about my experience working at a franchise lash studio. I also got started at a franchise lash studio, and yeah, I don't think I ever see this talked about on like podcasts or even Instagram, really, like people's experiences with it. Most of the time it's like people talking about their experiences being like a solo lash artist or beauty business owner, or like owning a salon. So I am really excited that we're going to dive into this, like the pros and cons, the lessons we learned, some crazy client stories, all the things so that you can decide if it is an option for you or not, or maybe just listen to the craziness of it. But either way, big day for me over here. Like I said, I've never openly talked about this, so I am excited because anytime I even just kind of mention it here and there, or like I'll post an old photo and people will see like the logo on my shirt, they'll be like, oh my gosh, I worked at a franchise lash studio too, or I got started there too. So I think there's a lot of us that can relate to this. I know everybody has different experiences with that, so please just take this as two lash artists sharing their previous experiences. That doesn't mean that is the experience that you will have. And that's, we talk about that, and it really is truly like what you make of it too. So yeah, get ready, buckle up. It's a good one. We had a lot of fun recording this. And before you jump into listening to the episode, I have to let you know that Lash Biz Babes online conference tickets go on sale this weekend. So if you don't know what this is a 2-day, all virtual, all online conference for solo lash artists and solo beauty business owners who want to, our theme this year, stepping into your empowered era. So we are going to be supporting you with physical, mental, and emotional, financial, strategic support as a solo beauty business owner so that you can really thrive this year. I'm so excited for our second year of this. We are going to have speakers, we're going to have huge giveaways, we're going to have online networking, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So the ticket link is going to be in the show notes. You can check and see when it goes live. It should be on Saturday. I'm so excited. I can't wait to have you there. And other than that, let's go ahead and jump on into the episode. Okay, welcome to the show. I am so excited. Like, I'm always excited for every guest that we have on, but like, I'm very excited to have you here. And get to chat with you because, we've kind of talked on Instagram a little bit. It sounds like we've got some shared experiences, and I'm really excited to actually get to like dive into that with somebody who like can relate
So first and
Yes.
foremost, I would just love for you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you and what you do in the industry.
Of course. So, first, I'm also very excited. So, I'm Dennis, known as DenyDiva on social media, Instagram, TikTok. I am a full-time lash artist, part-time educator. I have been lashing since 2016. We, I think, both had our journey working at the same location. Well, not same location, but same company in the past.
Yeah,
And then I branched off on my own about like 3 years ago now, give or take. And here I am. So that's
I
me.
love that. So exciting. So you take clients full time then?
Yeah, my full-time like income is from lashing.
Okay, cool. That's really
Yeah.
awesome. I
Mhm.
feel like a lot of people have almost like transitioned in out of that and like more
Um,
online or into teaching. So yeah,
yeah, I don't know why. Actually, I have thoughts
it's
on why,
different for
but
everyone.
like, yeah, but whatever. It's fine. It's fine. Everyone, as long as whatever makes them happy.
Yeah,
Lashing makes them happy. So I personally don't mind lashing full time. Um, Not to go off on a tangent, but like I feel like a lot of people just don't lash ergonomically for their body, so they break down a lot faster.
it's 100%
Um,
true.
I personally can lash all. I know as much as I shouldn't. I can lash like all day, and like I'll be tired, but like not like in excruciating pain.
Yeah,
Like, and I literally been lashing like now going on like 7 years. Like when I talk about full time, like a solid like full time, and I'm
I love
fine.
that. I love
Yeah,
that. Well, and I agree because it's not focused on, and when I got started back in 2014, that wasn't even something anyone thought about. So
yeah,
I didn't start learning that ergonomics or even thinking about that till like 4 years in when I was like, I got these really bad lashing habits already, and it was like hard to
right.
break those. At least that was my experience. So
Yeah. So I'm fortunate to have learned that really early on. So that
good.
keeps me going. Yeah.
I love it. So how did you get started as a lash artist?
So I actually got started originally I went into the beauty industry trying to be a hairdresser, but very hard, very catty. You have to
Yeah,
literally like scrape your way to the top. Like it's just a lot to make it in the hair industry, at least from my own personal experience with it. So um I actually got dual licensed for because I liked the industry, so I wanted to learn as much as I could about it. So when I was in aesthetic school, that was the second license I got. Since I was already technically a licensed cosmetologist, they allowed me to take some of the advanced courses, one of them being lashes. While I was there, the reason why I decided to take it was because, truthfully, I saw one of my classmates who had already taken the course do the service on somebody, and it just looked really interesting. Like it almost looked medical. And I was like, this looks so cool. Like I want to learn about this. And I saw how like, for lack of better terms, how like thirsty all the other girls were like to get her to do their lashes.
yeah,
So I was like, this looks so cool because like we were doing, on hands-on day, we would everyone else would do other services and people would be like almost like fighting to get someone to let them do something on them. But people were like lining up for this girl for lashes, and I'm like, I need to do that. So I took the course, it left some to be desired, the course in school.
yeah.
Um, so I was honestly not really thinking much of it after that. I was kind of doing it on the side. I was going to people's houses, like friends, family, like referrals here and there. But when I really was like struggling trying to make it in hair, I needed a second source of income. So a local franchise was hiring. And I was like, you know what? What's the worst that can happen? Let me just give it a whirl. And I applied and I got hired. And that's actually where I got, truthfully, most of my experience is from, even though I learned before and I kind of had experience before, I learned mostly in the franchise. I mean, are we saying the name? I don't know. Yeah, no, no, no. So it was Amazing
No,
Lash Studio. Yeah, no, so I worked there for 4 years and that's where I got most of my experience. And honestly, I just fell in love with the industry and I wanted more. And here we are.
I think there's always like that one girl in school who does the lashes. Cause I was, at least for me, like there was one girl who went and got, like, did cause they taught us classic lashes in school,
Mhm.
but she went and did a volume training. So it was the same thing. Everyone was always lining
Oh
up
my God, yeah.
to get their lashes done by her.
It's insane how like back then when it was like so like such a small service,
Yeah,
how like interested everyone was
for
to like,
sure.
what is this? I want this. Like, and which is so cool.
Yeah, yeah. it's a lot different now, but back then it was pretty cool. But I think a lot of people can kind of share that experience with you too, because I know, so my sister's a cosmetologist. That's how I even
Hmm.
got into the lash industry to begin with. So I've watched her be in the hair industry as well. And a lot of people who have worked with her have done the same thing where they kind of part-time at a franchise lash studio to make extra money like on the side. Like it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, not for nothing. It was pretty decent money. It was my full-time gig for a while.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna
Yep, I love it. So what was your experience like working at a franchise studio? And do you think it was a good place to get started? Like I feel like there's newbies in Facebook groups and stuff that are like, can I get feedback on this place? Or like, is working for someone else like a good place to get started? I would love to like hear your thoughts on this.
So I feel like okay, so I feel like it's like a double-edged sword kind of
Yeah.
a thing because technically, yes, it's a great place to get started because if you're working for somebody else, you can literally make all your mistakes on somebody else's dimes, as bad as that sounds, but like you can make your mistakes on somebody else's dimes. Somebody else is marketing your clients for you. Like you basically just get to come in, clock in, do lashes and leave and get experience off of essentially somebody else. So it is a great place to get started. But what I learned is unfortunately, when you work for somebody else, especially a franchise, it's really hard to kind of spread your wings and fly beyond them without pushback. So it's kind of like it's a fine line you have to walk. It's like you can't. I do think you should use that as a stepping stone, but in my experience, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but a lot of franchises don't want to be used as a stepping stone.
Right.
So my personal experience with them, honestly, like there were obviously I think with anybody there were some experiences that I wish were different. But as a whole, like I honestly I do um look back and give them thanks honestly for like giving me the experience that I have because even though they didn't teach me everything that I know about lashes, if it wasn't for them and the essentially hands-on experience that I got with them, I wouldn't have had that much experience under my belt if I had tried to go off on my own like from the beginning. I would have struggled a lot harder and a lot longer if it wasn't for me working for somebody else first, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. I think I can definitely relate to that. I feel like it had its my experience had its like its definite pros and its definite cons, but overall like I got a lot of hands-on experience. I got my hands
Yeah,
on a lot of people's eyes, and
exactly.
I felt like very confident in my skills when I left. But I will say that I did feel like my skills kind of like I hit a ceiling with where I could go with them.
Yes.
And that was part of why I decided to leave and like spread my wings and go out on my own, because I did feel like my artistry was really,
Limited.
yes, I'm like, what's a good word for that? Limited there. So I feel like for me, like you said, a good stepping stone for me. Like I'm thankful for that experience. I also met some of my best friends in the industry who I still talk to this day from working there. Like every person, like my
Same.
coworkers there, management, somewhat of a different story, but my coworkers, like the front desk girls and the other lash artists, 100% best
Yeah.
friends for life.
But you know what's funny that you say that because I feel like a lot of people base their opinions on like a whole off of just a piece of the whole story. So like a
Yeah,
lot of people I feel like have their own individual experiences working for franchises like with like you just said like your managers, you kind of hesitated a little bit like I feel like that's not a reflection of necessarily the company as a whole. It's just your specific location. So I
right.
think that's kind of like people kind of like jumble that up and think like, oh no, working for a franchise is bad because you know
Mhm.
my manager was bad or something like that. I don't think
Well,
that's
yeah. Well, and I think what a lot of people don't realize too is, and this was something I didn't learn until I started working there, but like it's a franchise, and so that means that it has different owners. Like there's
yeah,
people who own, like, and this is not just with Amazing Lash Shoe, this is any type of franchise, but
mhm,
there's people who own it, and then people can buy in and like buy like a location and own that particular location. So I feel like a lot of, at least for me, a lot of the experience was based on the actual franchise owners themselves and not
right.
necessarily the actual like company, if that makes sense. So like,
Yep.
Amazing Lash as a company. It was more so like the owners and who they had as the manager and that kind of thing. So like every franchise has different owners unless someone owns like multiple, then you have the same ones. But yeah,
Yeah.
definitely plays a lot into the experience
It
that you have
sure
for
does because
sure.
I know I was fortunate enough to have met people who worked in like amazing lashes all over the country because like whatever I connected with people through like the conferences that they had and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
I know people who loved their experience. They were like ride or die for the company. They had a franchisee owner who was just amazing. And then I heard the complete opposite end of the spectrum. So I do think that
Yeah.
like when it comes to franchises, I think people's experiences are very unique to like their location that they work for, not necessarily a reflection of the company as a whole.
Yeah,
Um,
I would agree.
so
Well,
yeah.
and that can almost be with like any type of salon. A lot of your experience, or really any type of job, a lot of your experience is going to depend on the managers that you have and like their leadership skills and like who they are as a person, like their management style.
Yeah.
Um, I know for myself, are the franchise owners who I worked for were brand new to the beauty industry. They bought into it as an investment with their, I believe, retirement money or something.
Okay.
And they just were, it was really hard for me to work for people who were not in the beauty industry, had no experience in it, because they were learning as they went, and that was difficult for me.
That is very difficult.
So it was like
That's,
trying to, because their management style was micromanaging. So they were
mhm.
micromanaging you with zero experience in the beauty industry and telling you how to do your job and what to do and micromanaging, but they didn't know what they were doing. So that was really difficult for me.
That's tough because I mean, as like the managers, owners, like you look to them as like
Hmm.
for assistance and guidance and mentorship, and if
Right.
they don't know what they're doing, it's like almost like the blind leading the blind, and that's like not really
Yeah. Well,
fun.
and I was somewhat fresh out of school. I had been graduated for maybe 6 months when I started working there. So I would say like I was still newer to the industry as well.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I was
definitely.
too though.
Yeah.
I was too because I had graduated beauty school first, then almost immediately went into aesthetic school, and then I actually started working for Amazing Lash like right as I graduated aesthetics. So I hadn't even passed my aesthetics license yet, but I had my cosmetology license. So
Right.
I was like, I was still fresh. So it's hard when you don't have like someone with a lot of experience mentoring you.
Yeah.
You're kind of just like, "Ugh, what do I do?"
Yeah. Do you feel like that ended up being like with your experience there ended up being a good thing? Like, do you feel like you learned from that to be able to help you go out and run your own business and be
I
solo?
do. So I like I said, I had a bit of a mixed review about my experience. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't great, but it wasn't all bad. But I think what I kind of give thanks to is the fact that I got the opportunity to be not just a stylist, but I also got to be a trainer and like somewhat of like a manager of sorts, like
Mm-hmm. That
whatever.
was me
So
too.
yeah, I got a little bit of experience in how to like operate a salon, so to speak, how to like manage people, how to like train people. So I got a little bit of all of that, but I do think even like I kind of even am thankful for the bad experiences that I had sometimes because it taught me a lot about what I don't want in my business and what I don't want my employees to feel like when I eventually had employees, because that was my goal when I left, was to
Mm-hmm.
eventually, grow beyond just being like myself, just me. And even if it's just one person, like I wanted that one person to like be happy working for me, and I knew everything that I experienced that didn't make me happy I did not want to repeat with somebody else. So I do kind of give thanks like even the bad experiences that I had with them, you know.
Yeah, I like that a lot because I felt the same way. Like, for as mixed as the experience was for me, and like for as many like ups and downs as there were, I learned so much from it. And even just like dealing with difficult clients too. Like
Yes.
with it being like lower price point for the area, it feel like it attracted, and I don't mean this in a bad way towards like clients or like there's worse clients than others, but like it attracted a lot of problem clients.
Hmm.
And I got a
It
lot
does.
of like face-to-face experience, hands-on experience with that. And that was very beneficial for me going out on my own and navigating that and dealing with that without having like managers above you who are taking care of it, basically.
That's exactly what I was gonna say, because I think that's actually one of the beauties that people kind of miss about working for somebody else is that when you are dealing with a difficult situation, like a difficult client, for example, there is someone
Yeah,
to almost like pass the buck to if it needs to get to that. Whereas when you're by yourself, especially if you have zero experience, when you deal with that first difficult client and you don't know what to do, it's like you have no choice but to sink or swim. And
it's
most people
true.
unfortunately sink when they don't have anyone to to show them the ropes. So
Hmm.
for that, like I said, even though I would never, I don't say I discourage people from working for franchises, but I would never openly say yeah, absolutely, go work for them.
Yeah.
It's a great, but I would say listen, if it's what you think that it works best for you, go for it. You make it what you want it to be. You know,
Hmm.
if you go in with the mentality of this is gonna be a hot mess, it's not gonna work out for me, then yeah, it's not gonna work for you. But if you go in thinking listen, I'm gonna go in here, I don't have to be here forever. I'm gonna make it the best that I can while I'm here. Then and that's what I did, honestly. I went in originally, truthfully speaking, I originally went in not thinking kind of really highly of the lash industry as a whole because it was still new. I mean, this was in
Yeah.
2016. It doesn't sound like that long ago, but truthfully, that's really when lashes kind of started kind of blooming a little bit, but booming.
Yeah.
And so at the time, I really thought lashes will kind of just be a passing fade. It'll have its moment and then go away,
That's what
right?
my
So I
husband
was
told me. He's like, it's just a
yeah,
trend, it won't last.
at least I don't maybe not even go away, but the hype will die to a point where
Yeah.
at most it can only be somebody's side hustle, like an extra service that they offer on top of something else. So I never thought that it could be a full-time job. So when I went in with the mentality of listen, I'm gonna make as much money as I can here while I'm here. It doesn't have to be my forever. If I don't like it, I can just leave. But I know that some people go in with a negative mentality because it is a franchise and they have a bad experience. And I think that's all just mindset, really, you know?
Yeah. Well, and they probably at this point have heard a lot of different experiences about it from other people that can influence their mindset going into it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it is like you just have to decide what's going to be the best for you because not everybody wants to go out on their own and deal with
No.
all the marketing and the business and the money management and the difficult clients. For some people, it can be a really great space to be able to just go in, lash, and go home and not worry about it. And I think that that's totally great.
Yeah.
Everybody's just going to be different. And I think if that's you that you want to go into a salon setting, like I just would say talk to the management, see, get to know them maybe a little bit during the interview, like maybe ask them some questions even and
Yeah.
feel it out and see if you feel like it's going to be a good fit or somebody good to work for.
Yeah.
I wish I would have done that a little bit more. I think I was so new, I didn't really ask too many questions or what's the day-to-day going to be like or you
It was a
know
learning experience for you.
yeah. Yeah.
I think that I kind of said this on I think one of my lives with something the other day. I think that um what did I say? I had a whole train of thought and I totally forgot. But basically I feel like it's not even with just franchise specifically. I just feel like when working for somebody else, I think that the problem that I feel like in my eyes, from my perception, that people are having right now is people want it they want their cake and they want to eat it too. Almost they don't want the hassle of having to run their own business, but they also don't want to have to do something somebody else's way. And I
Yeah.
feel like you kind of have to pick one, right? You either have
Yeah.
to learn and running a business, because even if you're by yourself, that's what you're doing, you're running a business, or just be part of somebody's team and just let them run the ship and you just keep pedaling, keep that ship moving, under their way of doing things, because you can't have it both ways. And I think that's where a lot of people struggle, especially when it comes to franchises, because specifically your franchises, the whole key to making them work is them having very specific systems so that people can have the same experience no matter where they go, especially if your owner has more than one location. So yeah, it is very systemized and routine and you have to do things just so, and not everyone likes that. So that is also something I feel like you have to take into account when working for, if you decide to try to franchise, you know so
Right.
even.
That was something my husband always reminded me of too, was like, it's their business. They get to run it how they want to run it. And I'm like,
Mhm.
but this is frustrating. Or like,
It is. Yeah,
and there's
I
certain
always say
things,
that.
but yeah.
I was always the same way. I was always like, this is so frustrating. But then I had to think, like, you know what? At the end of the day, it's not my business. If it fails, it's on them.
Yep.
It's not on me. If I really think that I could do it better, then go out on your own. And I always just tell me that, then go out on your own. And I always would not, because at the time I knew I guess I felt I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that people just struggle with that way too much. I think people just, especially with like social media, as much as I feel like I social media does have a lot of good, but it also has a lot of bad. Social media just like for a while, especially like, right after the pandemic, like hyped up this whole like girl boss mentality and like entrepreneur, you got to go out on your own, be your own boss, don't give somebody else your money. Like, and then everybody went on their own. And then
Yep.
people were like, wait a minute, this is hard. Like, I don't,
Maybe they
pineapples, I
realized
don't
it
want this.
wasn't for them. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like now people don't know what to do because they don't want to be seen as like almost like failures going back to work for somebody else, like, or they're too proud to like go back to work for somebody else, and it's like, well, there's something wrong with it. Like,
No,
I think
there's not.
no, I think people need to realize, like, just because you had a bad experience working for somebody else, maybe it wasn't necessarily working for somebody else, maybe it was working for that person.
Hmm.
Go, maybe you need to, maybe it wasn't your home, go find go find somebody else, learn like what it is that like makes you happy, and like communicate that to people that I feel like when you work for somebody else, yes, they're going to interview you as a potential like employee, but like you can also like interview them, like ask
Yep.
them questions, like you said, like ask them questions on things that you value, and see if it
Hmm.
aligns with what you value.
Yeah, 100%. And I have noticed that too. Like everybody, when I noticed that a lot of people who have worked at franchises too, maybe didn't have a great experience. So there was so many people going out on their own for a while. And now
Yeah.
I feel like it's almost going back into a lot of people are going back into salons, which I think is great. Like everyone's going to be different on what works the best for them. But I also love that there's a bigger push now, or at least that I've seen, that salon owners are trying to be better and run better salons and increase their, like be better leaders. And like I was really thankful when like Lash Bosch Radio and stuff came out to even hear, because at that time, like I'm not gonna lie, when I left from working at the franchise studio, like I had a very negative mindset about working for somebody else because of my experiences.
Hmm.
And then when like Shelby started talking about, running her salon and how she does things and, her experiences being a salon owner, I was like, oh my gosh, there's actually good salon owners out there. And at that point, I had just gone out solo pretty recently at that point. I was like, I wish I could work for somebody like that. That would be so great. So yeah,
Yeah.
like I love that you said that there's nothing wrong with going to work for somebody else if that's what's going to be the best for you. And like I would say even good for like your mental health too, because not everybody's cut out to be solo, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, what I find what I kind of find unfortunate that happened in that whole like transition of like everyone deciding to go off on their own is that I think a lot of people's pride did kind of almost it defeated them in a sense where
Mhm.
I don't actually see a lot of people going back to work for themselves. I see a lot of people going back to work for somebody else. I actually see a lot of people who went off on their own and realized they didn't like it or couldn't make it, just kind of give up entirely and
Yeah, that's
completely just
true.
change industries. And that's kind of unfortunate because I feel like there's a lot of like great lash artists that could have been if they just like realized like it's not that you didn't want to work for somebody, you just were working for the wrong somebody,
Hmm.
you know? And that's just kind of like sad, just because I feel like I know I'm kind of being repetitive, but like everyone thought that to be anybody, you had to work for yourself. No, not for
Yeah.
nothing though. I also was something that I quickly learned when I went off on my own and versus working for somebody else is I quickly realized is sometimes when you work for somebody else, you can make a ton more money than working for yourself
Yeah,
if you're working at the right place. And sometimes you actually even make more than your boss because
it's
there's a
true.
lot of expenses of working for yourself, and I don't like it here.
I think Tiffany Mitchell, right? Like
Love her.
she's amazing. I love her. She shared one time how much her girls make at her salon, and I was like, holy crap, like that's amazing. Like way
Yeah.
more than I ever made as a solo person
Even
myself.
honestly, even at like franchise, like I'm not gonna say like I could have made more than I make now there. Like, don't get me wrong,
Right.
I'm okay. But like honestly, even for working at a franchise, like I was making pretty sick money working at a franchise. So like people like don't sleep on working at a franchise. I'm not encouraging it or discouraging it, but
Right.
like don't
There's
sleep on
pros
the
and
amount of money you
cons.
can make. Like, and I
Yeah.
think that's the thing. A lot of people also think like you're not gonna make money working at a franchise. Like maybe you won't make like $1 million, but like you can make a pretty comfortable like amount. Like
And it's consistent. That's the other part too.
and it's consistent. It's consistent, and you don't have to
Yep.
do any of the work. You can
Yep. Well,
clock
you
in,
mean you,
clock
you do
out.
the lashes, which can be grueling some days, but yeah.
Ugh, some days, let me tell you, some of the experiences that I had there are just, it's wild.
Those are where my wildest stories from the beauty industry comes from, is my days at
Can
Taylor's.
I share one? Can I share one
I was
story?
gonna
It's
ask
and
you,
this
like,
is
can you tell me like any of your crazy experiences, even just
yeah.
client, like wild clients?
So okay, so I had this one client, and whatever. I have not seen her in years. This is nothing, not a reflection of her as a person. So I don't want anyone to think that I'm trashing clients per se. This is just my account of the experience that I had with this person, right?
Mm,
And this person came to me, and I think this may have been like the third time I maybe serviced her, right? I was doing refills on her, and it was always like, okay, great, wonderful, love it, thank you. And then this one time, I don't know what happened, and you remember, like they were very systemized with how they map things out,
oh yeah,
whatever. Like we
100%.
had to
You
do
had
things
to
certain
do it
ways,
that
whatever.
way. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how I did it because I'm a very by the book person. If I'm doing something for somebody else, I'm very by their rules. That's just how I am. So I did everything by the book, and I was relatively new at the time. And then she gets up and looks at it, and she must have been in a mood or something because she starts examining her lashes like up close in the mirror and everything, and she swore up and down that like her eyes, I did two different things on both her eyes, and I'm like looking at them like. And at the time I was pretty new, so I was like second guessing myself. I'm like, did I? Like, I'm looking at them like, no, like they're the same. And she was talking specifically about her inner corners that like I use a much longer length on one than the other. So I was like, no, like I know exactly what I did on you. Like it's the same. She's like, no, no, absolutely not. This is wrong. I need you to get somebody else. So I'm like, oh, okay, all right. So I went to go get my friend at the time. Like she wasn't like a lead or anything, but she was like one of the more experienced artists there. And I went to go get her, and like in my head, I'm already like thinking like, I am not going to tell her anything about what this lady already told me because I want to see if she sees what I see, right? Like I didn't
Right.
want to give her any leading information. So I was like, can you just come help me with this one client? Like she just has some questions, right? So she goes into to the client, and the client's like, look at these eyes. Like he didn't do the same thing on both eyes. And then she's looking at them, and she asked me, she like said the length exactly. She's like, you use eighths in the corner, right? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, yeah, they're exactly the same. And she's like, so like I that kind of validated me and knowing that like, okay, like I'm not crazy. Like, because I didn't
Yeah.
tell her anything about what I did or what the client was complaining about, anything. And she called it out, even like guessed the right length and everything. And I'm like, no, yeah, they're the same. And then so whatever. So then this lady's walking out of the hallway, and she's like just walking out to paint. She's like, this is awful. It's terrible. Worst job I've ever seen. And then for whatever reason, continued to book with me.
She liked it. She's just trying to
She
get free lashes.
she booked with me like for a solid like 6 months after that.
Isn't that wild?
I'm like, but you just called my work absolute trash, and it's the worst that you've ever seen, but you're coming back to me. I was
It's so
so
wild.
baffled. I was so baffled by it. I was like, I didn't even know what to do. And it was just kind of crazy. And, don't take my advice on this, guys. I'm just going to tell you my experience. But it got so bad to the point with this one client where after that one session, she did the same thing every appointment afterwards, where she would like scrutinize my work, where
Nitpick.
she would like almost like hold me hostage in the room. Because you remember how they were all like rooms? She would almost like
Mm-hmm.
hold me hostage in the room, and like I'm like I'm sorry, but like I have a client waiting. Like she would always like lay back down, fix this, fix that, fix this, fix that. And I'm like, now I'm like running 15 minutes over. I'm like, I have a client waiting. It got to the point where I literally had to like finish her service, get up and open the door and wait for her in the hallway, and like not even give her a chance. Like it was wild. Like
I
the
don't
things that I
blame
would
you.
You know, like I was very polite about it, but it almost like was hinting like, listen, like you have to respectfully, you have to go, you know?
Well, and
So
you are on such a time schedule too. Like you're expected to do your fills in a certain amount of time, and like at least where I was at, they, you know, hey, why did you take so long?
yeah.
And
That's
that
another
was
thing
like
about yeah,
like it got to the point where they were wanting me to do fills in 50 minutes.
50
So
minutes.
you don't have the time to have people in there extra. So I don't blame you.
Let me tell you about that though. If they taught me one thing, they taught me how to hustle. I know that like hustle culture is dead and whatever, but they taught me about time management.
That's exactly what I was just about to say.
Time management, and they really taught me a valuable lesson on time management and how to handle stress when you're running behind,
Yeah,
or how to or like when a client is late, or they taught me how to do the best I can with what I have,
it's so
in
a
a
hundred
sense.
percent, 100%. Yep.
You know, because not for nothing, and again, you know, I personally would never do it, but like it's not my business, so I just had to kind of like eat it. They were the type of people, somebody could be 30 minutes late to their mini fill essentially, and they're like, do what you can, you know.
Oh,
That's an exaggeration, but like, you know,
that
they could be extremely late to their service and you would still take them and do what you can. And like it taught me a lot about how to work under pressure but still provide quality work,
yeah,
you know.
I would agree with that. I had one experience where a client had called in and this was we had only opened up a few months before that. So this was one of our first days, I think, that we were all like pretty booked out for most of the
Mhm.
day. And a client called in, wanted to come in same day, and she hadn't been in 2 or 3 weeks. And they were like, "Oh, we don't have any time for a fill today. Would you want to come in tomorrow?" She's like, "No, I want to come in today." So the one
Okay.
of the owners booked her in a 30-minute touch-up spot instead because I only had 30-minute gap in my day, which was, I believe, if I remember correctly, should have been my lunch break, but that's besides the point. I digress. But she
Whoops.
booked this client in the 30-minute slot I had and said, "Do what you can." And it does teach you to, I mean,
Do
I
what you
was
can.
always personally someone who still, I wouldn't rush through it to give them bad lashes. Like I still wanted to give them quality work, but
Yeah.
like you definitely get your timing down pretty quick.
Yeah. You know where I
Good,
started appreciating
good and
that? You know where I
bad.
really started appreciating that is um when I went off on my own and I had to deal with late clients on my own,
Yeah,
right? Because I know a lot of people say like you should stick firmly to like to your policies and your boundaries, whatever. Like, you know, a lot of people have policies like after 10 minutes, like your appointment is canceled and everything like that. But something that I quickly realized working for myself, like if I don't take a client, I don't make money,
yeah,
right? So I'm very big on like obviously having boundaries and policies and all like and everything like that, but also like within reason and like you have to have a little bit of flexibility with it. So I've always been the type of person to like if you're where it kind of came into play for me was when I started having late clients and I was trying my best to stick to the policies and I realized like I'm losing a ton of money. So let me just see what I can do in the time that I do have left with them. And I
yeah,
found that a lot of clients are a lot more appreciative of that. And I lost a lot less clients when I had a little bit more flexibility in my policies. Not like to the point where I bend it and snap, but bend and snap.
yeah. That's
Um
exactly what just went through my brain.
but it taught me a valuable lesson. But it also the fact that I did have to work under that pressure under the franchise kind of helped me deal with it on my own. Whereas I find that a lot of newer lash artists who don't have experience, you know, at all yet, they may try to do that and their quality suffers, or they stick a little bit too firmly to their policies and turn people off. I know that sounds bad. I don't mean it to sound like, you know, give way to your policy, but like I think a lot of people need to learn how to like have a little bit of flexibility in their policies. Or just have
Right.
policies, period. But like people who do have policies, I think sometimes, especially newer, because of how social media teaches you, again, going back to social media, I love social media, but sometimes
Yeah.
it's so bad. I feel like a lot of people tell you like stick to your boundaries, stick to your boundaries, stick to your boundaries, and I feel like yes, that's great, but if you stick to it a little too hard, it's just as bad as not having any policies at all, in my opinion, anyway.
Well, I set up my policies to be where if you show up late, I'm gonna do what I can in the time there's left and you still pay full price. So that's
Yes,
how you know. But it
exactly what I do.
also taught me like working at Amazing Lash, like taught me almost like made me stretch. And I feel like this is kind of has its pros and cons, but like stretch my limits almost and like pushed me
Mhm.
further to like I would know like what my capacity was as a lash artist, if that makes sense. Like
Yes,
I know if a client walks in 10 minutes late, I know I can give them a really good fill. Maybe I don't get as much coverage, but like I know how to get them enough coverage that they're not going to notice, kind of
exactly.
thing. Like it taught me I feel like it did teach me like valuable skills in that way.
Yeah.
Of
Like I don't
like I
think
know I can do this and do a good job
yeah.
still.
I just hope that anyone that's listening isn't like misunderstanding what we're saying to the point where they're thinking like, oh, you should work under that kind of pressure. Like we shouldn't. But like it did teach us valuable lessons on how to handle it when it does happen. Because it
Right.
happens to everyone. And
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people just have a really difficult time working under pressure,
Yeah.
you know?
It is true. When I had another lash artist who worked in my studio with me, I had a couple girls who worked in there for like back in 2021, and one of them was like, "Oh my gosh, like I actually was just deleting text the other day and found this text actually." But she texted me midway through the set with a picture and was like, "I only have," because she was working on one eye at a time. She's like, "I only have
Hmm.
fans on one eye and I'm an hour in. I'm stressed out. I don't know what to do. Like, I don't have enough time to finish this." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, here's what you do." Like, you're gonna be just fine.
Oh
Here's
my
how you
goodness,
handle
yeah.
that. But it was like so second nature to me because of all of these situations and like things that I did learn from working at a franchise. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
You know
don't
what?
rush.
No,
Prioritize
don't.
quality. Your timing will get better, but like at the same time, you could, it's gonna be okay.
As sad as it sounds, you learn a lot from it's gonna be extreme, but you learn a lot from trauma. You learn a lot.
Okay. Yeah, I'm like, I don't want to sound dramatic, but yeah, I would call some of it a little bit
Traumatic.
slightly traumatizing.
Like I'll give you a perfect example of what I mean by that. And again, I this is not like again in any way meaning to like trash
Right.
them at all. Like I think franchises as in general just they do have their place. I mean, everything has their place.
Yeah.
They exist. They're still around, so obviously they're doing something, right? You know, so I think they have their place. Is it for me? No, but um something else that I learned while working for a franchise is foreign fills. And I don't mean
Yes.
that foreign fills outside like so something that they did is they wouldn't take necessarily foreign fills like from outside of their brand, but like one studio you can go to another studio in another state and you could take you know
Yeah.
you could go get service there. So in a sense, it's kind of like a foreign fill because you're working over somebody else's work. And let me tell you something. I don't know if you had a similar experience, but um, I encountered a lot of questionable work, and
Hmm.
it taught me how to deal with explaining that to clients and how to learn when I can and when I can't work over something, and I feel like I am fortunate to have learned it there because I had someone to lean on when I wasn't sure. I had like a lead or a manager to be like, hey, listen, like I'm struggling over here. Like, do you think I should just do this instead? Whereas if I was by myself, I wouldn't have known what to do.
Yep.
So honestly, like now that I'm thinking and having this conversation with you, like I'm realizing like, wow, like I actually learned a
Yeah.
lot. Maybe not in the most pleasant ways, but like I learned a
Yeah.
lot, you know?
Yeah. It's true. Well, and it is nice because in that sense, you do have people to bounce things off of. And like
Right.
you did, you could pull in your lead, or like in my case, I was the lead for a majority of the time that I was there. So I was helping other girls and like um I think that aspect of it is nice, and you do have that community and like you can get support with that. So I think that that was definitely a benefit, especially where I was like newer ish I've been doing lashes for about a year at that point when I had started on there anyway.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I liked that, and I did learn a lot from the ups and the downs.
Mostly the
And
dance.
well, and like client communication, like you said, like how to talk to people and like how
Yeah,
to like in a tactful way too, of not just like trash talking the previous artist, because like you could have someone like for us, there were I think 3 locations in Utah at the time. And because it was like I want to say some of the first ones in Utah, I don't remember exactly, but you could have someone who just came from a different city, like an hour away or something, that would have
yeah.
like you had to like fix some stuff, which that
To put it
happens.
nicely. Yeah,
Yeah. And so, yeah, that definitely, and I think that was a good thing for me to learn of like what can I fix can I work on this? Can I not? Because I personally have the opinion that taking foreign fills can be a really great thing for your business.
I think
Such a
everyone
great
should do
way
it.
to create loyal clients, to like educate them, to build trust with them. They're not going to want to go to anybody else but you because you just worked this magic for them. At least
Yeah,
that was my
I
experience.
agree. I feel like, especially now in today's lash industry, I feel like there's no reason to not take foreign fills. I feel like that's such an outdated mentality from way back in the day when there wasn't a ton of product knowledge. I'll tell you, I don't know how true this is, but like this is what I was told when I learned why you shouldn't take foreign fills. Um, Meaning like outside of the brand, right? I was told that we cannot take foreign fills because we don't know how their product will interact with our product.
I've heard that, and
And at the time, I was like, oh,
yeah,
wow, that makes so much sense. Like, yeah, yeah, absolutely. And now thinking about it, I'm like, that's kind of
it doesn't
no,
make sense.
it doesn't make sense. Like, I mix brands all the time. And I'm
100%.
like, no, like that doesn't make sense.
Like,
But more specifically, I think that not doing foreign fills now is such a disservice because another reason that people say that they don't want to take foreign fills is because they don't know the quality of the work. And I mean, listen, there's still some questionable work out there, but I feel like it's, in my opinion, so far and few in between now because of how much education there is out there in the industry and how much
yeah,
more serious people take this as a career and everything like that. That I feel like having to have somebody come in who has otherwise really good work that you could easily work over, make them take it off, make them pay for a full set when you could have easily just done a fill, kept them happy, make and create like a long-term relationship with that client. There's no reason to not do a foreign fill. And like, yes, I get it. Like, you could have that one off where they book a foreign fill, but they really need a full set and you just lost on that of money. But something that again that I learned working for a franchise is that you shouldn't make a decision like if it's a 1 in 10 chance of that bad thing happening, like you shouldn't not do it just because it's a 1 in 10 chance. Like you still have 9 out of 10 chances of everything going right.
yeah.
I don't know if I'm explaining that correctly, if that makes sense,
No,
but
yep, that totally,
like they're holding themselves back over such a small possibility
yeah,
that it doesn't make sense to me. Like I
right.
feel like I love taking foreign fills because I find that most of my foreign fills become some of my best clients because
It's
you
true.
help them. They
Mhm.
trust you now. They see you as the expert, especially if they're coming from somewhere that they weren't happy with whatever. So
Right.
foreign fills, honestly, I feel like it's something that is a great tool to use, especially if you're still trying to build a clientele.
I agree. I think one thing that maybe this will be, I don't want to say controversial, but unpopular, but a lot of people don't like taking them. And I think some of that ties into not having communication skills for it. Because I
Yes.
do think, especially if it's poor work that came in from previously, which honestly, I can count on one hand the amount of times I could not work over somebody's work. Most of the
Yeah.
time, even if it wasn't the best quality work out there, I would still work over it. Like, I'm just, all right, let's
Yeah.
fix this. But I feel like a lot of it is just you have to have good communication with them. Take a picture of it, show it to them,
Yep.
here's what I'm seeing, here's what we can do to make that better, here's like a game plan for how we can transition out of that. You're still going to have some of this previous work on, for a
Mhm.
couple of fills, like, but you have to like let it cycle out. Like, I don't know. Like for me, it was just a lot of like communicating really well with people. And because of that, that did build trust. And they are, you know, they do see you as expert and like, oh man, they're, you know, like they've helped me through this. Like this, they fixed whatever I didn't like about the lashes previously. I feel like if people would work on their communication skills more, that
Yeah.
maybe they can even just feel a little bit more confident taking foreign fills.
It's funny that you say that because something that I've been noticing a lot more is that there's a lot, well, at least from my perspective anyway, I'm seeing a lot more people. There is a more prominent focus on the other side of being a lash artist, which is something beyond just your technical abilities. Because I
Right.
feel like so many people were focused so heavily on like learning the newest, hottest technique and trend and like how to make this look and how to create that fan and this, that, and the third. And I feel like a lot of people forgot like, okay, like you could be a really great lash artist, but if you have zero customer service skills or zero people skills,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry to tell you, but you are not going to have a very successful business. Like I
Yeah.
know plenty of people who, for lack of better terms, are much less skilled but making a ton more money and are super successful and super busy than somebody who is like mega talented. And the reason is because the customer service skills, the people skills, they know how to treat the people, they know how to talk to people. And I feel like
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to foreign fills, a lot of people don't know how to like they don't know how to communicate that. And with my approach to it, it's just being very matter of fact,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to bad work. People are like, well, I don't want to trash talk anyone. It's like, you don't have to trash talk anyone. Like what I do is the same thing you said. I take a picture and I just show them is I'm like, listen, I'm just gonna take a picture of what I see here and I want to show it to you and we can talk about it together. I'm gonna tell you why I'm having a difficult time. And then I'm just very matter of fact about it. Like, this is these lashes over here or whatever. I just point it out very matter of factly, not in any type of, I don't make any guesses as to why the person did it that way. I'm just like, this is what I see. This is in front of me
Mm-hmm.
now. Can't change why it happened or how it happened, but we're here. And then what I tell them is I'm gonna do my best if I can work over it. I'm like, I'm gonna do the work, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm very transparent and telling them, listen, give me 1 to 2 fills before you completely judge my quality of work. Especially because, I don't know. They tell me when the last time they got a fill was, but like they could have gotten a fill yesterday and like lost like half their lashes. So I don't know what that person's retention is going to be like. So I always tell them, listen, give me at least 1 to 2 fills before you completely make a judgment on my quality of work. So that way you can be absolutely sure that every lash that you're wearing is mine.
Yeah.
And a lot of people appreciate that. They're like, okay, I appreciate your honesty. I appreciate your transparency. It's just about being transparent and matter of fact when it comes to like foreign fills, and I don't think a lot of people know or are comfortable being that because they don't have the customer service experience or skills, and I feel like that's another beautiful thing about working for somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you can, yeah, you learn that 100% working for somebody
Yeah.
else, and I like that approach to it. And just being like matter of fact about it. I feel like that clients really appreciate that.
Hmm.
Um, and like we were talking about, it can really make some of my most loyal clients were foreign fills every time. Um, and I know as from the client's perspective, I'm not gonna lie, I get very annoyed if someone tells me I can't get a fill because I have lashes on from somewhere else. Like when we moved, it's so hard. I don't think I found very few lash artists in the area that would are willing to do foreign fills. Most of them are gonna make me take it off and put a new full set on.
It is annoying. I can, and I listen, I don't wear lashes, but I'd probably be annoyed with that. Like I don't, I guess coming from somebody who knows, you're like, but why? Like, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to. Like,
Yeah.
I think part of it also is just a little bit of pride. Like, they don't want people to see you with like mixed work and you call it theirs. I feel like there's a little bit of pride and ego involved too. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you know,
There's
like
different things,
because
yeah.
everyone I've heard people say like, well, that's my work walking around. Like, I don't want people to think that like that's the quality of work that I do. And I'm like, your ego is gonna lose you a lot of money sometimes.
Yeah.
I feel like people
Nope.
I don't know.
I can see that. Um, and everyone's different. It's like I think everyone like if you're listening, like you run your business the way that you feel is best. That's on you. Like you do your thing. You
Yeah.
don't have to listen to me or anything. Like do what you want to do. But from my experiences, it can really help you to grow your business and build.
Yeah.
From a client perspective, I think a lot of people really appreciate if they don't have to pay the price of a full set when they only did a fill.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm very grateful I worked for somebody else. I think that even if you're not going to work for a franchise per se, I think that working for somebody else could be very beneficial. I will say though, if you're going to work for somebody else, hopefully it's another lash salon, because you could very easily go work for somebody else who like you're the only lash artist on their
Yeah.
team. And it's like it's kind of the same thing as working for yourself, and you have the same struggles as somebody who works for themselves. Um, but if you can find a place that has like a great team and like other experienced lash artists that you can like lean on and like bounce ideas off of and ask for help from, I feel like it's a great way to like just grow in this industry. I think that a lot of people who could have otherwise been really great lash artists give up a little bit too soon because they take on too much right from the beginning. Like, not, you don't have to go off on your own. I don't know where that came from. Like, it's just crazy to me that people think like, and I see it a lot in the lash industry specifically. I mean, it's probably because it's the most thing, like, it's in my face all the time, but everyone when they become a lash artist or think about being a lash artist, like their first instinct is, okay, I'm going to work for myself. It's like,
Right.
but why? Like, you don't have to. Like,
You can't
why?
force it.
What's so bad about working for somebody else? Like I said, listen, I don't, I know myself now. Like, I've learned. I don't think I personally could work for somebody else, but like, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And but I also see how, like, as somebody who now is like starting to grow a team, granted it's only one person, but it's still a team. Like, I do see how like this mentality of like having to be on your own is like it's got to be a struggle for like a salon owner who's like now trying to hire people, but like
Yeah.
everyone says like I want to work for myself, and it's like, well, how do you hire people when everyone wants to work? It's just wild to me. I don't know.
Yeah. And everyone's gonna be different. I think I definitely empathize with people who have had bad experiences working under other people, because that was so my mindset after I got done working, like when I quit, because I did have some rather negative experiences as well. And I'm like, when I started lashing there, or like, I had been lashing, like, I was so passionate about it. I loved it so much. Like, at that time, I was like dating people. And there's one time this random dude was like, wow, you really like what you do, don't you? Like, I was like, had just started working there. Like people, like random, I just started talking to this person. Like, like they could really tell, like, man, you really like that, don't you? Like, yeah, I really do. Like, I love what I do. Like, I love working. And I think that it did kind of blow out that flame for a while. It kind of got to the point where it just made me lose that spark for lashing. And I think that I really struggled with that. Like, I'm thankful I didn't step out of the industry because of it. But I did have to take a break from lashing for a while because of having a non-compete contract, which is a whole other story. But I empathize with people who have had poor experiences working for franchises because
I do too.
it's hard. It's hard. And I think some people have stepped out. I'm thankful that I didn't, because I did lose that. I got to the point where I was coming home crying at night, and my husband's like, why? You can just go out on your own. Like, you can quit. Like, you can step out. Like, you can do that. And if it's
Yeah.
making you cry and like making you lose your passion for it and making you hate doing something that you love, then maybe it's time to move on and spread your wings a little bit and like do something different until you can lash again. And that was kind of scary at the time, because I did feel like I hit my limit with how much I could grow. Like, I feel like I learned so much. I got so much hands-on experience. I grew as a lash artist. I grew my customer service skills. Like, I learned so much, but I just kind of felt like I hit that ceiling of how far I could take myself working
Yeah,
there.
I
And it
agree.
just was time to like step up to the next stepping stone. And I'm thankful I did that, because I was so scared to like quit and like not have that. Because the nice thing about it is that it does have structure already. It
Mhm.
has structure, it has systems. It's almost like you kind of get in your comfort zone there. And so to step out of that was scary for
Scary.
me. but I'm so thankful I did that because I could not have ever grown into where I am now without that. So, you know, for if working for someone else is your thing, then that's amazing. If not working for
Yeah.
someone else is your thing, then that's amazing too. I don't think there's any right or wrong in that. It's just what's best for you. And yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there because I do 100% empathize with people when they have those poor experiences and then they kind of question, like, is this really for me or not? What am I supposed to do with this? But I know for myself, I'm thankful I didn't step out of the industry and that I stuck with it because
Yeah.
I would not be sitting here talking to you right now had I not stuck with it. So yeah.
I think my advice to anyone who is like thinking either way, like in either direction, is to literally ask somebody who's in that position. Like ask somebody who has, if you work for somebody else and you're thinking about going off on your own, like ask around people's opinions. Like what do they really think? And like I wouldn't ask friends because they're all gonna tell you like, yeah, girl, go on. It's like the best thing I ever did. It's so much money. Like, yeah, I would see if like there's people out there who you could reach out to and like ask their like honest opinion, like, if you could do it again, would you? And I guarantee you there's gonna be a lot of people who would say like, no.
Yeah.
Like because it's a lot harder than we glamorize it to be. Like it's not, you're not going to be suddenly into like buckets of money, and it's not going to, you're suddenly find yourself leaving a 9 to 5 to go work a 12 to 12. It's like it's a lot more than people have this like picture of. But also the opposite. I feel like if you find yourself that you did take that leap of faith and you find that it's not for you, or you're really struggling hard, like it's okay if you decide, like, you don't have to give up on the industry. It doesn't mean that it's not for you. It just means that maybe, like I said earlier, you were just maybe just not in the right location. Like just find a new home, like ask around, like what are people's experiences working at different salons. um but if you do ultimately make the journey to work for yourself, and you find that you did your due diligence, you asked around, and you still think you want to do it, like take the time to learn about like the business side of things before you dive into taking all these like technical courses. Because like I said earlier, like I feel like the technical courses are great, they're important, yes, take them, absolutely, but I don't think enough people invest into like the business side of things.
Yeah.
And I think that's where people struggle, because like just from an observer's point of view, something that I see a lot happen, especially like, working in a salon suite, you see like how different people run their businesses, because essentially we're all little mini businesses. And it's amazing how many times I see people kind of just like, and not just my salon suite. I mean, I visit friends in other salon suites, whatever, and I see people just like sitting around doing nothing. Like, and I'm like, whatever, it's not my business. You can do whatever you want. But like, I feel like a lot of people don't realize like the effort it really takes to like keep a business going, because they
Yeah.
were so used to working for somebody else where like the clients just came whether or not they did anything.
Mhm.
um so I think just taking the time to learn about business, about marketing, about customer service, about just how to talk, learn all the stuff that people might find a little bit boring, is really going to set you up to like succeed and like thrive, and then everything else will just kind of fall into place.
True. You gotta like I I honestly hate the word hustle, but you gotta hustle. Like when you're on your
You
own, like
do,
you have to like
honestly.
actually put in the work. You know what I mean?
Can I just say that I don't think you should be working yourself to the bone, but I also think that a lot of people want to take one client, be done for the day, and then like make $1 million. And
Right.
like that's not real life. Like it's not real life. And a lot, especially as a new artist, like, yes, can you get there? Absolutely. But like everyone who has gotten there, it's not without having put in a ton of work and effort. And
Right.
people only see the end result, and not they don't take into account the journey that it took to get there. So when they start off on their journey, they start off wanting to charge like crazy amount, but you're not there yet. You're not
Right.
there yet. So yes, you are gonna have to like hustle a little bit and like, work your tail off a little bit to like to get to that point.
Well, and I
And
yeah, when I worked for the franchise, it's like, well, if someone cancels, whatever, I still get paid. If I don't have an appointment, I'm gonna go. Like there was times we would just like watch shows in the back, or like sometimes you have to clean or practice or work on other
yeah,
things for them, but like you're just kind of sitting around. It doesn't matter because you're gonna make well just about the same anyway. But like when you're out on your own, that, I mean, if you're just like you're saying, just sitting around, that doesn't do anything for you. And a lot of people, I think, struggle with the business and marketing side of things. I've worked with enough beauty business owners at this point that I can tell you who's going to succeed and who's going to struggle
Oh,
just based
absolutely.
on their work ethic and how they approach things and how they handle things. Because the business owners that I've worked with that actually like take the course, like they're actually doing the modules, they're actually applying what they're learning, they're like putting in the effort, they're asking questions, they're engaged, they're interactive, like they are taking what they're learning and applying it. They are so much more successful faster than the ones
Hmm.
who are like, well, I'm struggling and whatever else, but then I can go on and look and they haven't done a single,
Anything.
any of their modules, or like they haven't,
Yeah.
like they haven't shown up to their calls, they, whatever it is, it's like there's such a big difference that, you have to put in the work, you have to put in the
Yeah.
effort. It's just not going to
And
happen.
and kind of keeping it within topic, kind of like circling back to working for somebody. That is another thing that I actually learned from working, well, in my case specifically for Amazing Lash, but like I'm sure you could learn it from anybody else, but that is something that I learned about just managing like your business. Like I learned about things like, okay, like, if I'm seeing like a little bit of a slow season, I know like something as simple as like reaching out to like lapsed clients, like, hey, what's up? How you been? Like, you want an appointment? Like things like that, little things like that, instead of just like kind of just using my downtime to like mindlessly scroll Instagram, which is great. Listen, watch my content, but it's great. But like, I think some people don't kind of transfer that same kind of like work ethic of like, if I have a cancel, like whatever, I'm getting paid anyway, so I'm just gonna sit here on my phone and do nothing. Instead of like when you're a business owner, when you're by yourself, like that cancellation is not just a cancellation, it's an opportunity for you now to like work on your business since you're not working for your business. Like that's the opportunity for you. You're gonna be there anyway. That's an opportunity for you to like start doing things like reaching out to clients, marketing yourself, making content. And that's all things that I learned from my experiences of working for somebody else. So again, really thankful that I did.
Yep. They straight up sent us out to go put flyers door to door
Mhm.
in snow and ice, 32 degrees. Yeah, we were out walking hills, putting flyers on people's doors.
That's a little wild, but no.
I don't recommend that method of marketing. I don't feel like the
No.
return of it was worth the effort, but you did learn to like, get out there and do what you can, like,
Yeah. Like it's amazing to me how something as simple as just sending an email to clients you haven't seen in a while saying, hey,
mm,
would generate appointments. Because a lot of people, it's like not that they don't want to come to you, it's just that you're not top of mind. And when you put
yeah,
yourself in front of them, all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, why not? And then you get appointments. Like something as simple as that. And people, I feel like, don't use their time effectively because they're so used to being an employee that when
right.
they transfer to being a business owner, they don't shift their mentality. They still have that employee mentality, and then they wonder why they're struggling. And yeah,
Yeah.
I can go on a whole rant about
I was
this.
gonna say we could probably have like a whole entire episode about just that topic for sure. Um,
Yeah.
but overall, any last thoughts, working for franchises or anything else you wanted to share at all?
I think there's no shame in taking whatever journey fills your cup. If it makes you happy, take that journey. Don't worry about what anyone else is saying. Like, you could be just as successful, if not more successful, as an employee of somebody else being a lash artist than being your own boss. Honestly, sometimes there's days where I wish I could just clock in and clock out and just be a lash artist and just do the artistry of it. But follow your own journey. Be happy. That's all that matters. Don't worry about what social media or anyone else tells you. Yeah,
I think that's the hard part too, is that social media, it's so easy to see what everyone else is doing. It's so
yeah,
easy to see everyone else's journey and where they're at, whether they're, day one or day 5,000 into their last journey, that can
it's
be
hard.
like, I was thinking about that last night too, just like staying in your own lane and like the second you start feeling comparison or like doubting yourself or talking negatively
Mhm.
to yourself when you're scrolling online, like put your phone away and go do something else. Like,
Like, I think it's good for sources of inspiration, but I don't think it should be like
yeah,
a source of validation. Oh
Right.
my God, that's so great. Inspiration, not validation. Oh my
Oh my
God.
God. I love it. Yeah, I agree with that. I think there's a lot of good that can come from it, but I know I at least get to a point sometimes where I'm like, I really just need to put my phone down and then like stay in my lane for a minute. Like focus on what
Honestly,
I'm
you know
doing.
what's funny? When I feel like that, I switch over to like my personal page and just get the
Mhm.
whole algorithm of just funny stuff and just laugh.
There you go. I love
So
it. Such a good approach. Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your
yes.
experiences. I'm so glad we finally got to do this.
Me
Uh,
too. It's been months.
I haven't ever really talked to anybody else in depth like this who's worked there, except for like the girls that I worked with. So it's really interesting to like swap experiences and compare.
Oh my God, yeah. And then afterwards we can talk about our real experience. No, I'm just kidding.
Well,
I'm
no,
so kidding.
kidding or am I? No, I'm just kidding. Well, cool. Well, where can they find you online? Because you are, well, I feel like a lot of people are probably already following you, Mr. Instagram, Real
Yes.
Benny Diva, the
So
Diva. Where can
DenyDiva
they
on
find you?
TikTok and Instagram. Um, Stay tuned because I'm officially launching like my or throwing my hat into like the educator ring, and like I will actually have like things people can actually like download or like book with me for because yeah, it's time. So stay tuned, that is coming. I actually technically already finished my first like ebook.
Whoa,
So
that's
that'll
so
be coming out
exciting.
soon. So stay tuned.
Yay, I'm so excited for you. I can't wait. So I'll have all his links in the show notes so you guys can go follow him if you don't already. But thank you so much for coming on. I
Thanks for
really
having me.
appreciate you.